Happy birthday, Epcot!
That was nice.
That was so good.
That was really well done.
Yeah, first take.
Right, go us.
Wow.
We're here on Epcot's 40th anniversary to take a stroll down memory lane.
We're gonna ride every opening day attraction, visit all the opening day World Showcase countries, and check out the 40th festivities.
Let's get to it. Let's party.
Time to party! Yay! Epcot opened on October 1st, 1982. Yes, it does have the same anniversary of the Magic Kingdom. And when Epcot opened, it had several attractions, a few still withstanding, as well as 9 World Showcase countries. When Epcot opened, you could visit Spaceship Earth. You could go to Journey into Imagination, but not the same one you might be thinking of. You could ride Listen with the Land and visit the Land Pavilion. You could go to Communicore. You could go to the Universe of Energy, and you could go to World of Motion.
Wait, do you hear that? They're playing opening day music.
Oh my god, they're playing Universe of Energy.
They are.
Oh my gosh, they're playing old attraction BGM. Oh, this is wonderful.
Why are they choked up?
Because Universe of Energy slaps.
It does slap.
May I ask you something?
Yeah.
When did they stop writing just absolute bangers for every attraction?
I don't know, but they need to bring him back.
Universe of Energy, Fun to Be Free, Magic Journeys, Horizons, those songs all slap. Which
Bangers.
one's your favorite?
Universe of Energy.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. We've got our commemorative maps, we've got our coffees, and we've got our spirit for edutainment.
Epcot stands for the
Experimental Prototype Community of Tomorrow.
The original idea for Epcot was going to be a place that people could live. It was going to be a city of the future, a progress city, where there wasn't traffic on the roads because people took monorails and people movers to get around from the neighborhoods into that central city hub. This was going to be a place where different companies could showcase the newest and greatest in technology and kind of have a test pool of people that could try out these new inventions.
At the center of this city, Walt intended for there to be a community center where you could host a World's Fair-like event where you invited different countries to have one place to come visit and share their different unique experiences.
Additionally, Walt wanted to have different pavilions where you could learn about different things such as energy, technology, communication, health, the seas, and space. Spas.
Bah.
And unfortunately, after Walt passed away in 1966, no one really knew what to do with Epcot. No one could quite envision it the way Walt did. But eventually, when it was time to build Walt Disney World's second park, they looked back on Walt's designs for Epcot. Initially, they were thinking about doing just the Future World section, focusing on all that technology and science, but they were also looking at the World Showcase section. And legend has it that they just shoved the two models together, and that became Epcot.
Yep. A lot of Walt's ideas did come to fruition, including the World Marketplace, which is manifested as the World Showcase.
And his other concepts he wanted to teach about came true in the different pavilions around Epcot. For space, you had Horizons, now Mission Space. For energy, you had Universe of Energy, now Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind.
Yeah, that feels a little...
I guess the whole thing is like there's energy. Yeah. Anyway, for motion, you had World of Motion, now Test Track. For communication, you've always had Spaceship Earth. For the seas, you had the Living Seas come out in 1986. Now it's the Seas with Nemo and Friends. For the land and nature, you've always had the Land Pavilion. So Walt's original ideas did come true, just a little different than he probably expected. It's worth noting that on opening day, an adult ticket to Epcot only cost $15.
Hold on. I gotta do some math. It's $46.04 today.
Yeah, it's more than $46 to get in here today.
Yeah.
To kick off this Epcot OG adventure, there's no better place to start than with the beacon of Epcot, the prettiest girl in school, Spaceship Earth. Now, Spaceship Earth is, of course, the mascot of Epcot, and it has been since it opened in 1982. It stands 180 feet tall, and it was largely brought to life by an Imagineer named John Hench, who's a genius and figured out how to have this giant geodesic sphere stand up. John Hench had a little help with this, though. Ray Bradbury, who is a famous sci-fi and fantasy writer, helped figure out the design for Spaceship Earth, as well as a lot of the original script writing for the attraction itself.
One of the things that has changed for Spaceship Earth over the time was the narrator that you hear inside the attraction. It started with Vic Perrin, then moved to Walter Cronkite, followed by Jeremy Irons, and now today, you'll hear Dame Judi Dench.
Or as I like to call her, Old Deuteronomy. remember when there was an Alice in Wonderland thing in here.
Oh my god.
Like the live action Alice in
Yes.
Wonderland show. I'm having like a fever dream memory of that.
Yes.
There was also this phone of the future where you could book your dining reservations for the day, and there was some technology. There was like pre-FaceTime video call technology. Throughout this video, if you've got old school Epcot memories, definitely drop them in the comments so we can all reminisce together. What a lovely spin on Spaceship Earth.
It's always nice to go and visit and hear Dame Judi Dench.
Who is your favorite character on Spaceship Earth, or your favorite scene on Spaceship Earth?
It has to be the sleeping monk
Oh, sure.
reading his
Sure.
books.
Sure. I have always loved the scientist lady.
Yes.
She's got a sweet outfit on with those kicky boots.
She's a classic.
I adore her. And of course, newspaper boy shouting at Wall.
Guys, look at the records and alphabet!
Yes. What a great scene.
Skipping World Discovery and headed into the World Nature neighborhood for our next attraction.
World Discovery originally had Universe of Energy, which has become Guardians of the Galaxy, and also World of Motion, which became Test Track. Those are both completely different attractions than they were when this park opened, so we're going to be excluding them from the sort of OG tour.
Additionally, Horizons opened up in 1983, which a lot of people look back fondly on, and that is currently Mission Space.
You want to read that?
I really don't.
But why? Speaking of pavilions that were not here on opening day, we have the Seas. It actually opened in 1986 as the Living Seas, and now today we have it as the Seas with Nemo and Friends.
And still one of my favorites.
It's incredible.
Headed into the Land Pavilion now to ride what's basically the same attraction with a few minor tweaks. What we now know and love as Living with the Land was originally called Listen to the Land. In addition to Listen to the Land, you also had the beloved, the fan favorite Kitchen Cabaret,
Oh yeah.
which was the OG food show that lives where Soarin' is now. That transitioned to Food Rocks in the 90s to help better exemplify the food pyramid, weirdly.
Oh yeah. I remember the food pyramid.
And before you ask, if I was a Kitchen Cabaret character, I would of course be Miss Cheese. Who would you be?
The Boogie Woogie Bakery Boy.
Naturally.
I like jazz and carbs.
Who doesn't? Also in the pavilion when it opened were the Good Turn restaurant, which became Garden Grill, the Farmers Market Food Court, which became Sunshine Seasons, the theater, which was called the Harvest Theater, showed a film called Symbiosis, and there was also a walking tour, the Tomorrow's Harvest Tour, which took you through part of the greenhouse.
Listen to the Land actually had a cast member on the boat who guided you throughout this tour, much like the Jungle Cruise. However, it was not necessarily funny, it was more edutainment, which is the brand that Epcot was known for.
We can produce over 27,000 heads of lettuce by traditional growing methods. That saves growing costs.
Do you feel like you are truly living with the land now?
I do. That's an invigorating experience.
I do love that
It's
attraction.
just so good.
And now on to an attraction that exists.
It is here,
It is an attraction that you can ride.
if you would like to.
We are talking about Journey into Imagination with Figment. Now, while the Imagination Pavilion was around when Epcot opened in 1982, our pal Figment didn't actually make his debut for a few months at the beginning of 1983. What was in this pavilion was the Magic Journeys movie. However, since Figment is undoubtedly the most famous character, the unofficial mascot of Epcot, and it's almost an opening day attraction, we are going to ride the current iteration of Journey into Imagination with Figment.
When this attraction opened in 1983, it was called Journey into Imagination, and that is where we met the Dreamfinder, and it is largely considered the most popular iteration of this attraction. The second version of this attraction had no Dreamfinder and no Figment, and was called Journey into Your Imagination. People were most upset that Dreamfinder and Figment were missing, so they were added back to the attraction, and it is now called Journey into Imagination with Figment.
Can help capture your imagination.
Oh, can I go too?
Absolutely not. This is one of our discoveries, the figment of imagination.
Yeah, I know all about the senses. There's sight, sound, smell, touch, and taste. Taste my chicken. Can I go? Please, please, please.
Figment? I thought I told you not to interfere.
But you've got it wrong, Doc. It's not about listening with your ears. It's about listening with your imagination. Here are hearing 1,000 thoughts can start appearing, and each of us imagines different things. Imagine what you could see if you used your imagination. Follow the bell. Then what your eyes see, your sense of sight can make your fancy fly. Coming to play? I'd love to.
Figment, this is not a good time.
It's always a good time to use your imagination. Of course, Doc. The nose knows. Now you're talking. That's the best idea you've had all day. And innovation, imagination really clowns around. Makes clown side up.
Upside down. Come on, it's time to get back to the Institute.
I'm going shortcut.
Imagination works the best when it's set free.
You said it, Doc. Imagination is a blast. A dream is making a dream come true.
Of creation, right at the start of everything that's new. Well, I invite you to set your imaginations free in the image works.
It is a ride.
It was a thing that we did.
It is, of all the rides, it's the most recent one I've been on. And again, the Magic Eye Theater did open with the Imagination Pavilion. It was Magic Journeys when it first opened. Then Captain EO took over. Then Honey, I Shrunk the Audience. Then Captain EO again. And now it's the Disney and Pixar Short Film Festival. And you know what?
What?
I gotta say, of all this 80s Epcot stuff we're talking about, I miss Captain EO the most. It was my favorite. We are here to change the world. Make a change the world. Hoo!
Hooter!
Oh, it was the best. I loved it. Alan,
Yes.
are you excited that a Figment meet and greet is coming back to Epcot next year?
Yes? Yes.
They haven't mentioned the return of Dreamfinder, who used to appear with Figment, so I don't know what Figment's gonna look like. How tall will Figment be? We're gonna all find out together next year sometime.
Well, that sounds neat.
One little spark of inspiration. That song's gonna be stuck in my head for the rest of the day.
Can we just take a moment and pour one out for the Fountain of Nations?
Yes, we can, because I loved the Fountain of Nations. I loved that sweet water ballet it did.
Oh, yeah.
I loved that they used Rescuers Down Under music during the water ballet in its last years. And I loved that when Epcot opened, they brought representatives from around the world who brought water from their country and poured it into the Fountain of Nations.
It was by cool, one of the coolest features that we had in a park, just because of the history that it had.
And now we have this cool wall.
It is a dope wall, I guess.
Sorry.
It's one of many walls.
It's one of many walls in Epcot. Of course, they are revamping Epcot. They're going to have the Dreamer's Point with the Walt Disney statue. They're going to have some new venues for live performances, all in Epcot Center. And of course, the Panini closure did delay a lot of this construction, but it is kind of a bummer that Epcot's not ready for her big birthday.
Considering that this is the line for merchandise, and it's not even the end of the line, it's just sort of the bulk of the body of the line, we're going to avoid it for now. Perhaps check back later.
We've made it into Connections Cafe, which is the newest restaurant. This is what replaced Electric Umbrella. May it rest in pieces. It is half Connections Cafe, which is the Starbucks side, and on the other side you have the Connections Eatery, which is a full quick service restaurant. Alan, I have an important question for you.
Okay.
How do you feel about the fact that right here on the ground, as you come into Connections Cafe, a Starbucks no less, you are walking on Walt Disney's literal deathbed drawing of Epcot? Feel good.
I feel like it should be somewhere that's not a Starbucks.
I feel like it should be somewhere that people aren't literally walking all over it with
love
their
it on a
dirty,
wall.
dirty park shoes.
Maybe a wall mural.
Why couldn't this have been the mural?
I want this on a wall, not a floor.
But yes, Walt Disney's original design for Epcot is on the floor right here in the Connections Cafe. He drew this out, part of which he drew out. The story goes that one of the very last things Walt Disney ever did when his health was failing in his hospital bed is he was drawing on the ceiling with his finger and kind of mapping out where Epcot would be, where Walt Disney World would be. So I love that this is here in Epcot. I just wish it wasn't on the floor. As you can see, the line for the Epcot 40th merch is very long. We were told almost 2 hours by a cast member. Additionally, they are out of some of the 40th treats already, like the Figment cake and the 40th waffle from Connections. So we are going to skip those things for now. It's the beauty of being in charge. Don't want to wait in a 2-hour line. Not going to wait in a 2-hour line.
Absolutely not.
There are plenty of wonderful news sites that have all of that stuff for you, but we're going to head into World Showcase to visit the original country pavilions and enjoy some eats and drinks and entertainment.
And now, a moment of silence for the opening day attractions who are no longer with us. Universe of Energy, World of Motion, Magic Journeys, Kitchen Cabaret, Communicore, and of course, the name Future World.
Gone, but not forgotten. May you rest in pieces.
Forever in our hearts. To the showcase?
Yeah. Well, before we actually head into World Showcase, we're going to make a pit stop at the Transition Building, which is the Odyssey. When Epcot opened, the Odyssey was part of that as the Odyssey Restaurant. It also is where Baby Care and First Aid was housed, which it still is today. Nowadays, the Odyssey kind of floats as a different functions. Currently, it is Brew Wing, which is a food and wine kiosk. Prior to this, it had the Epcot Experience, which helped advertise some of the changes and upcoming things for Epcot. It's been an event space, so it's kind of just a flex building now. But it was an original restaurant, and because of that, we are going to honor the Odyssey today by getting a drink inside.
Beverage. I got the Blood Orange IPA.
I got the watermelon wheat.
Cheers.
Cheers. Fruity and delicious.
Just hoppy enough. Blood orange, citrus, and sweetness.
Lots of wheat flavor, a little hint of watermelon. If you want more food and wine, we've done 2 full videos on the food and wine kiosks. We hit every kiosks around the world. Food and wine runs through November, so watch those.
Yeah.
Cheers, Epcot. Happy birthday.
Cheers, Epcot. We go on.
Oh, an Illuminations show.
Thank
Nice.
you. Yeah.
Moving right along into World Showcase. Now, when Epcot opened in 1982, there were only 9 of the 11 countries we know and love today. Morocco did not open until 1984, and Norway didn't open until 1988.
Originally, they advertised that over 30 countries to be included in the World Showcase. Of that original list, there were 4 that they included on opening day, and that was Equatorial Africa, Israel, Morocco, and Spain. And of those 4 that were advertised, only Morocco eventually became a part of the showcase.
Hola, amigos. We have made it to Mexico. When the Mexico Pavilion opened, it had quite a bit going on. It had one of the only attractions in World Showcase, El Rio del Tiempo, the boat ride. It also had some of the merchandise shops, San Angel Inn Restaurante, which is inside the pyramid, and Mariachi Cobre was playing from the very beginning. The Mexico Pavilion was also the only pavilion to have an actual ride for an attraction, El Rio del Tiempo, which was a boat ride. Describes that you could sail the river of time through the Mexico of yesterday and today.
We are headed to ride the Three Caballeros Gran Fiesta Tour. This attraction took the place of El Rio de Tiempo in April of 2007, and it was the first time that IP was added to an attraction in Epcot.
That's right, Grand Fiesta Tour walked so Frozen Ever After could fly. enjoy a trip on the Grand Fiesta Tour, but no ride will ever come close to Plant Donald.
I do miss Plant Donald.
One of the finest moments in Epcot's history.
Immortalized forever.
In our hearts.
We are on our way to listen to Mariachi Cobre, and they have been here for 40 years. They were a part of Epcot's opening, and they are a mariachi band that plays frequently throughout the day. If you've never had the opportunity to see them, set aside some time. It's always an experience. They're incredibly talented, and it's just such a fun experience to go and watch them play.
I hope you're having a wonderful time here at Epcot. Now, of course, today's Epcot's 40th anniversary, and it's also Mariachi Cobre's 40th anniversary performing here at Walt Disney World. We've been here since day one. Thank you. We've been performing these 40 wonderful years, all because of our guests. So thank you so much for joining us. We wouldn't be here one day if it wasn't for you. And we started with a lovely son. This fue un bonito son de Jalisco. That was el son de El Cihualteco.
You know what I think is nice? That everyone's favorite addition to Epcot is celebrating.
Huh.
Everyone loves the barges.
Do they?
They look so good.
Do they?
They add a nice je ne sais quoi here on the World Showcase skyline.
I see. Well, it's nice that they're representing.
Yeah.
They've shown out for the 40th,
Yeah.
and there are things happening on those screens.
Yeah, not a fountain, but
Nope.
it's there.
Yes, it is.
Not today, Norway. But ni hao, we've made it to China.
When the China Pavilion first opened, there were only shops as well as Wonders of China, which today is Reflections of China in CircleVision 360. Interestingly enough, Wonders of China was also in CircleVision 360, so they have maintained that throughout both experiences. By now, Wondrous China was meant to replace Reflections of China. It's a TBD on if and or when that happens. But for now, we're just going to go enjoy Reflections of China.
I always think the architecture in the China Pavilion is so beautiful, and this pavilion is kind of underrated. For example, if you take a look up on the ceiling here of this gorgeous temple, you will see the phoenix and the dragon symbol. This is often used for weddings as a symbol of prosperity between a husband and a wife.
The Great Wall. It once stretched like a mighty dragon across 4,000 miles of China. I have returned to share with you reflections of my beloved China. Like this great wall, it winds like a road across timeless landscapes. But one can also find Shanghai, a city forever reinventing itself. As Shanghai reflects Tai Chi, a tradition that has endured for centuries.
However, it may be said that the history of the Chinese people is not written in ink, but with water.
Boy, I cannot wait until Wondrous China comes out.
I agree. Reflections of China just feels a little dated at this point. And of course, since the opening of the China Pavilion, 2 restaurants have been added. The Nine Dragons, which is a sit-down restaurant, as well as Lotus Blossom, which is quick service. Neither of which are stars of Epcot's dining crown, simply because it's pretty expensive for what you get. It's very Americanized Chinese food that you can get at any Chinese restaurant in the country, pretty much. But for now, we away to Germany. Guten Tag from Germany. Oh, Snow White's here. Fun fact, Epcot didn't actually have characters when it opened because they wanted to distinguish it from the Magic Kingdom, and they were trying to make Epcot more informational and more educational, but people were like, is this not Disney World? Where are the characters? Which is when you got Mickey and the gang in those sweet silver spacesuits with the rainbow. I wish they had brought those out today, but that's actually my first time meeting Mickey and the gang. I have pictures meeting them in those cool outfits. Little fun fact about me. Anyway, we have made it into Germany, where quite a few things opened with the Pavilion, including the beer garden, the currently buffet-style restaurant where you can hear some authentic German music and eat a delightful variety of German and Bavarian foods. Many of the shops that you know and love opened with the Pavilion as well, including the wine shop and Der Teddy Bear. We, in honor of Germany, are going to grab ourselves a little snack from Summerfest, which didn't open with the Pavilion, but we're not going to go sit at the beer garden right now. Too much to see and do, but we're going to enjoy a traditional German snack. Interesting enough, Germany was supposed to have an attraction. It was going to be a Rhine River cruise, and it was going to take place behind what we know as the Germany Pavilion today, and it was going to be a lovely boat ride traveling through the Rhine River in the Rhine River country, which is why if you come back to this mural and knock on it, it's actually hollow.
Here in Germany, we are going to enjoy a bratwurst. And as you notice, it is a nice brat on a house-made loaf with sauerkraut as well as paprika chips. I'm very much looking forward to this.
Fun fact, Germany sells enough bratwurst every 2 months that if you lined them up end to end, it would be over 26 miles, which is the length of a marathon.
All right, give it a go. There's really no good way.
There's no attractive way to do this. Okay, we're gonna have to blur that. That's for the OnlyFans. Before you come for me, yes, I hate hot dogs. Yes, I love bratwurst. No, the two are not the same. I will not be taking any questions at this time.
So speaking of the bratwurst, incredibly crisp, very juicy, just an all-around good brat. Bread is hearty, sauerkraut is nice and crisp.
And I'm really into these house-made paprika chips. I feel like this is almost at this point, even though they sell so many of them, it's become an underrated snack or eat around the world. You can mobile order them and grab it really quick at the Summerfest. It's a good hearty snack when you're drinking around the world. Cheers to Germany. You know, there's a lot about Epcot that's different than what Walt envisioned, and people always ask, you know, like, oh, would Walt like this? Would Walt enjoy it? I can tell you one thing for sure. Walt would love this train set.
Oh, Walt would absolutely adore this train set. I mean, the man had one in his backyard.
A little bigger than this one, but yeah, Walt Disney was obsessed with trains. People say that he invented Disneyland so he could have a bigger train set to play with. Who knows what Walt would have thought of everything else, but I can tell you one thing. This would probably be his favorite place in World Showcase. That and wherever he could get a cocktail and a nice bowl of chili.
Specifically a Scotch Mist, his favorite cocktail. Ciao from Italy. When the Italy Pavilion first opened in the World Showcase, you could eat, drink, and shop. So not much has changed. Some of the original shops include the Crystal Shop, or an area to get fine leather goods, maybe some pottery and glassware, as well as the original restaurant, which is, and I am going to butcher this pronunciation, L'Originale Alfredo di Roma Ristorante. It's replaced by Tutto Italia, and Via Napoli is a new addition at the rear of the pavilion itself. We don't have a lot of time, certainly not enough to sit down as we jump from country to country, but there's always time for pizza.
Pizza al Taglio, affectionately known as the pizza window, is rarely open. It's usually only open during very busy seasons, so the holidays, certain weekends, but I'm glad it's open today so we can get a slice of za for our Italy activity. Say hello to a gigantic piece of cheese pizza. They also do pepperoni. And again, it's a rare treat for the window to be open, but when they are, I recommend it. It's like a wishbone with cheese. Cheers.
For the value, the size and quality, not just of the cheese and the sauce, but the crust specifically, it's a steal.
Now, it's not as good as the Napoli pizza. What is? But I can tell you it is substantially better than any other quick service pizza you're gonna get. It kicks puffy pizza right in the tail. It kicks those flatbreads at Pinocchio's right in the tail. It's a great snack if you're eating and drinking around the world. Thank you, Italy. Howdy, y'all. I'm trying to do a hello in every language, and for some reason, that's what I picked for America. The American Adventure is your host pavilion here in World Showcase. Fun fact, that's also why the first two countries you can go to are Canada and Mexico, because those are the United States' direct neighbors. But here in the American Adventure, you had quite a bit when the park first opened. You had the animatronic show, The American Adventure, which stars Ben Franklin, Mark Twain, telling the history, well, some of the highlights throughout United States history with those animatronics. You also had the Liberty Inn, which was the quick service restaurant. It actually closed just a few years ago to make way for the Regal Eagle Smokehouse. And you had the American Gardens Theater, which hosted different events, concerts, and it still does to this day. This is where you have the Eat to the Beat concert during Food and Wine. You have different presentations during the other Epcot festivals as well. So largely, the American Adventure Pavilion has been the same for 40 years. Now, unfortunately, the American Adventure show is closed for refurbishment right now. I personally really enjoy the show and think it's a lovely time sitting down in air conditioning for 30 minutes. I think some of the animatronics are really cool. So we won't be able to see that show today, but we are able to still step inside the pavilion, into the rotunda, and watch a different 40-year-old tradition here at Epcot. The Voices of Liberty a cappella group has been dazzling our ears the entire 40 years, and I'm so glad that they're back in the rotunda singing their incredible music.
So hooray for the red, white, and blue. So hooray for the red, white, and blue. Bright banners they tear and tremble. So hooray for the red, white, and blue. Hooray for the red, white, and blue. Well, now they know. Now they know. Let it go. In frozen fractals around. One crystallizes like an icy bliss. And never going back. The past is in the past. In the past. Let go.
That was really, really good, wasn't it?
They're really good.
Are you crying? We're not surprised. I'm glad you liked it.
I do like it. I have to say something. They're beautiful. Their voices are amazing. Clearly, it moves me to tears. And I'm not one of those people that's like, Disney World needs to stay the same forever. I understand it needs to grow and change. But can they bring back their better costumes? They look like cruise singers. Can they not bring back their period piece outfits? That's all I want. That's all I want.
Konnichiwa from Japan. Much like today, when Japan opened as a pavilion in the World Showcase, you had great places to dine as well as shop. Also, you had the wonderful pagoda that is a centerpiece of the pavilion, as well as the Torii Gate. Some of the original features of the Japan Pavilion are the teppanyaki dining rooms, yakitori house, and of course, Mitsukoshi, which is still the department store we have here today. Teppanyaki dining as a sit-down restaurant became Teppen Edo and Tokyo Dining. And yakitori dining, that was a quick service restaurant, became Katsura Grill, which is, incidentally, still a quick service location.
Little bonus fun fact about the pagoda here. Each level of it represents a different element in the Buddhist beliefs that created all things in the universe: earth, water, fire, wind, and sky.
And here we have the influencer taking dramatically posed photographs and videos of a sake flight. And now she turns to slowly walk back to the table. Careful not to spill a single drop of the delightful sake, so that we might both enjoy. Look, incredible grace, poise, amazing.
Our treat from Japan comes from the Garden House, and it is a rainbow sake flight. And as I say that, I realize that I'm colorblind and probably shouldn't be trying to identify which is which, but I'm gonna do it anyway. The top left is the Mount Fuji.
Yes.
Nailed it. The next one on the top right is the Tokyo Sunset.
Yes.
2 for 2. The bottom left is the Samurai Blue.
Blue Samurai, close enough.
Nailed it. Blue Samurai. And then last but certainly not least is the Violet Sake.
I'm really proud of you.
Guesswork.
I think this is really fun, and I think this is probably the most unique of the 40th treats. I just don't like sweet drinks or stuff that dyes my face colors, and this is like
2 for 2.
2 for 2. So I guess we'll both take a bluish one, and we'll both take a pinkish one. We're starting with the pinkish ones.
Nice. I have the violet sake,
I
right?
have the Tokyo Sunset. These are both drinks that you can get all the time in full glasses. Chink. Oh, God. Take yours. The Tokyo Sunset is a juice-based sake cocktail. I don't care for juice. I certainly don't care for pineapple juice, and that's the main flavor there. However, if you like juice-based drinks, you may enjoy it.
It is very sweet. The violet sake is incredibly floral. It's not as thick as the Tokyo Sunset. That is something, it's incredibly refreshing. I'm not going to say it's a very sweet drink, but it is sweeter than what I would normally like, but I'd go back to it just because it is refreshing.
Also, when it's served in the full-size cup, it's beautiful with a little lemon garnish on it. I guess we're going to have the blue ones now. I have the Mount Fuji.
And I have the Blue Samurai.
Chink. That one's also pineapple based. Oh, that one's okay. That one's okay.
Good. I was waiting for you to try it before. This one is actually pretty good. Both the violet sake and the Blue Samurai are very light, little sweetness. It's a little bit tougher for me to identify the flavor.
You can taste the sake.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think you're getting some of that rice flavor. The Mount Fuji is once again juice-based, which is not for me, but this is a fun snack. It's only available for the few days around the 40th, though. However, if you want to get a cocktail here, they do sake. They do sake cocktails, beers, all the time.
So much pineapple.
Why? Is there even pineapple in Japan?
I don't think I'm qualified to answer that question, but there's pineapple in this cocktail.
Before we leave Japan, can we say hello to one of my friends?
Sure.
Do you see him, my friend?
This is a fish.
It's a lot of fish, but
It's a collection of, it's a school.
But there's my favorite one. Look, he came to see me.
You know, I'd ask you to identify them via color, but that seems useless.
Well, it's the one that's got all the black and white dots down his back. He's coming back. He's coming to say hi. Hey, best friend. Love you.
I'm gonna wave and do that thing where somebody waves at you in public and you don't know if you're waving at them or not, but at least I'm covering my bases.
Bye, fishies. Love you. Do you think that my fish friend and my eel friend are friends? Like, do you think there's like an Epcot after party that we aren't invited to, or
Only the aquatic creatures get together?
No. I think like the Phoenicians are there. I think the Guardians are there. I think Figment's there. I think there's like after park closure, like a party every night in Epcot. And I just want to know if you think the fish and the eels hang out.
Yes, I do think that.
Thank you. Skipped Morocco, so now it's time to say bonjour from France. This is one of my favorite pavilions because of the abundance of cheese. Opening day here in France, there was a lot going on. Of course, not quite as much as they have now, especially with the recent Remy expansion, but Chest de France was an opening day sit-down restaurant. They also had the bakery, albeit it was where the ice cream shop is now, as well as a cafe, a sidewalk-style cafe. Several of the shops were available as well, including the wine shop and the perfumery, and the short film Impressions de France debuted 40 years ago, and lucky for us, you can still see the same exact Impressions de France today. Now, in this theater, during the daytime, they showed the Beauty and the Beast sing-along. However, in the evenings, they transitioned it over to Impressions de France, so we waited until 6:30 so we can see the OG film. They asked for no video recording in the theater, so what I can tell you is a transcendent experience.
Transported us both to France and to the opening days of Epcot.
That's true.
Cheerio from the United Kingdom. Here, not much has changed since opening day. You see, we still have the Rose and Crown pub as well as the dining room, and many of the shops and locations have remained the same as well, including the Tea Caddy as well as the Toy Soldier. So this might just be one of the pavilions that is the closest to original as you can find here in the World Showcase. And while in the UK, we must get a pint.
We have to.
To the Rose and Crown!
Legally required.
Oh, well, we wouldn't want to violate any laws.
I didn't make it up.
Well, that certainly sounds real.
It's a real law.
Okay, well then, every time we're here, by law, we have to go to the pub.
I pretty much do.
All right, I'm in.
We've got our pints from the pub. I'm sorry I started doing that accent. To all our UK followers, my dearest apologies. I'll work on it. I have gotten my favorite drink, one of my favorite drinks in all of Epcot, but my favorite from the pub. It's a snake bite, which is part Strongbow cider, part Harp beer. I go very light on the cider, otherwise it's too sweet for me.
I have gotten the Black Velvet, which is part Strongbow cider and part Guinness. I also, as you can probably tell, have gone rather light on the cider because it's settling towards the bottom, but I just love how this drink looks. It's so tasty. Cheers.
Cheers. Of all the places in Epcot, I've probably been to the Rose and Crown the most.
Yep. We tend to set up shop here.
I've probably had 40 beers here. Not at once, but in my life. Probably more, so one for every year of Epcot.
Cheers. Oh, God.
But to me, stopping into the Rose and Crown is definitely one of our Epcot traditions. Whenever we come with our friends, come walk around, this is always a spot that we go to. If the band's playing, we go listen to them. So the UK Pavilion is one pavilion I'm very passionate about, and I'm glad it's been around.
Cheers to you. And 40 years for Epcot.
Won't you join me on a stroll through a place I like to call the town I'm currently in? I apologize for my terrible Moira Rose accent, but we've made it to Canada A, our final country in our Lap Around World Showcase. When Canada opened, it had 3 main features. It had Le Cellier, though it was a quick service restaurant, cafeteria style at the time. It had some of the merchandise shops, and it had O Canada, a 360 Circle Vision film. These days, you may know that Le Cellier is a signature steakhouse, and that O Canada has become Canada Far and Wide, a different video about Canada now hosted by Johnny and Moira Rose. A little fun tidbit about the Canada Pavilion is that this very large totem pole right here was carved on stage by an incredible artist named David Boxley. So that one is a real totem pole. Initially, the other totem poles were made of fiberglass, but since then they have been replaced and they are real totem poles as well. I have an interesting tidbit of history that has to do with this building right here. This building right here is designed after one of the most famous buildings in Canada, the Fairmont Chateau Laurier, and it was designed by a gentleman whose last name was Hayes. He was a very famous hotelier back in the day, and he was in England in 1912, and he was set to make his return journey back to North America so that he could open this very hotel, well, the real one, in Canada. And a gentleman by the name of Bruce Ishmay invited him to be a guest aboard his newest ship. Is that name ringing any bells?
Oh no.
And if you are a fan of the 1997 blockbuster like I am, that name Ishmay probably rang a bell. That is one of the investors in the legendary RMS Titanic. So unfortunately, Mr. Hayes did perish in the Titanic disaster, but isn't that a weird tidbit of history? One of those kind of serendipitous, moments. I believe that the heart does go on. Once more, you open the door, and you're here and
No. You done? A simple no would have sufficed. Nice penny whistle. You're killing it. Well done.
As Alan said, we're headed to the Canadian Theatre, which originally housed O Canada, now normally houses Canada Far and Wide, the new video. However, for the Food and Wine Festival, it's been turned into the Appleseed Orchard, so we are now required to go get something from that menu. We didn't make the rules.
It's our company, though. We absolutely make the rules.
You're right. We grabbed a small pour of our favorite beer from this stand from Food and Wine. I got the Apple Blonde Ale.
And I got the Apple Pecan Brown.
And I'm once again going to shamelessly plug our Food and Wine videos where we visited every booth. We did 2 of them, so if you really want to know what to eat and drink, check those out. Cheers.
Many cheers.
To Canada, to the roses. It's so good. So fruity and delicious, but not too sweet. I have a question.
Okay.
We are in the theater where normally, again, it is narrated by Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara, who are Johnny and Moira Rose from Schitt's Creek.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to identify with the Schitt's Creek character, who do you think you identify with?
Probably Johnny or Patrick.
Okay.
Mostly because it feels like I'm consistently trying to rein in drama and chaos.
I guess that would make me either David or Moira Rose, which flattered. However, while those are my two favorite characters, I think I identify the most with Alexis. What Schitt's Creek character are you? Let us know in the comments.
Tell us.
Do you think that the people who made this pampered their fruit as if it was their own babies?
I would hope so.
At what point do I stop making Schitt's Creek references for the 7 people who haven't seen it yet?
I think when we leave the pavilion, no sooner and no later.
Now we are headed back up to the front of the park for a few reasons. 1, maybe that merch line's gotten shorter. 2, maybe some of the snacks have been restocked. And 3, they are doing a special presentation with the Beacon of Magic, which is Spaceship Earth, for the 40th, so we want to catch that. Looks like we're not the only ones excited to see the new Beacon of Magic. So the Beacon of Magic at each park is kind of the park icon. Here, of course, it's Spaceship Earth. And at dusk, every few minutes, they do some light effects and music on Spaceship Earth, and it's absolutely stunning. What's really cool is that during the festivals, they alternate between just kind of a generic Epcot one and then something special for whatever festival it is. So they've been doing Be Our Guest music for this festival since it's food and wine. They did Colors of the Wind for Flower and Garden. They did Rainbow Connection for Festival of the Arts. But tonight, they're doing a special Spaceship Earth one. So excited.
Just make believe that's reaching up to meet your need. Let's listen to
Whoa. Whoa. Yeah. Anytime they're going to bring Walt out, it's going to be waterworks for me. So it's a really cute little show. I'm hearing that it's only going to be for this weekend, which I'm sorry that other people aren't going to get to enjoy it, but they played We Go On from Illuminations, they played some Soarin', they played Figment, they played a lot of the throwback old music, Fun to Be Free, Horizons, and it was just a little cherry on top. We're hearing there's a special 40th tag on Harmonious, so obviously going to stay and watch that. Harmonious is Epcot's newest nighttime show. It debuted last year for the Walt Disney World 50. It's an incredible nighttime spectacular featuring lasers, fireworks, an amazing soundtrack, projections. It is the reason that we have these less than desirable barges in the middle of World Showcase Lagoon. And while I don't normally recommend waiting a long time for a fireworks show, I do recommend it if you want the best possible view of Harmonious. The best view of Harmonious is to be looking dead into Thanos' ship, which means you want to be directly across from the American Adventure or as close as you possibly can that way. Don't get me wrong, it's a great show from any angle. The music is absolutely phenomenal, my favorite thing about the show, but if you really want the full experience, you're going to want to get here about an hour or so before showtime. I got here like right an hour before Harmonious tonight, and it's a very busy day being Epcot's birthday, so that's usually about enough time. Harmonious technically replaced Epcot Forever, the shortest lived fireworks show of all time, I'm pretty sure, which was kind of a filler show after Illuminations ended its almost 20-year run. So I gotta know, are you Team Illuminations or are you Team Harmonious? I am hardcore Team Harmonious. I'm sorry, don't yell, but let us know that in the comments. And I've heard, nothing confirmed, but I've heard from some cast members that they're going to do a special tag on the end or the beginning of Harmonious. They sometimes do this for things like New Year's Eve, so gonna wait it out. Hopefully there will be something special for Epcot's birthday. If not, never mad about seeing this show.
that the promise of someday begins inside of you today. Good night.
I would like a word with whoever did the soundtrack for this, because it's so good. I've seen the show a dozen times more, and I still miss every time. Someday from Hunchback, Out There from Hunchback, Hercules, Moana, Lion King, you go to church with Tiana and Princess and the Frog, Coco. I mean, it is just like, this is without a doubt the best Nighttime Spectacular soundtrack of all time. The music is sung in the native language of each song, of each movie. Now, I'm not saying this is my favorite Nighttime Spectacular of all time. It's in the top 3, but the soundtrack alone, number 1. Oh my god. Dramatic! There was no 40th tag on the end, which is kind of a bummer, but love that show anyway, so whew, perfect way to end the day. Leaving the park, and look at this. The merchandise line is relatively short and it's moving, so we're doing it, friends. We are doing it. A very kind cast member told me it'd only be about 10 minutes or less to get into Creation Shop at this point, so I'm glad we waited to the end of the night. She said the only thing they've sold out of this point is the collectible pin. Also let me know that they didn't get everything. Unfortunately, Hurricane Ian put a delay on some of the arrivals, so they haven't gotten the ears yet. There's a Figment Harvey's bag that's coming, so there may be more stuff you see on Shop Disney or that arrives over the next few days, but I'm excited to go check the merch out. First thing I'm going to point out are the pins. The very kind cast member had a picture of all of the pins available, so you could look at it in line and kind of make up your mind before you get up to the counter. Let's take a look at them. We've got a Day of pin, a Figment Passholder pin, a Figment 40 pin, a different Figment 40 pin, a Dreamfinder and Figment pin, a Horizons pin, a World of Motion pin. We've got a World Showcase collection. I'm talking Mexico, Norway, China, Germany, Italy, American Adventure, Japan, Morocco, France, United Kingdom, and Canada. You know, it's nice they included Norway and Morocco, even though, as we've learned today, those were not open on opening day. We've got yet another Figment pin, what it looks like a jumbo pin. Very exciting for all you Figment fans. There's also a mystery pin set featuring, you guessed it, Figment. And we made it in. Our patient pants, I should say, have persevered, so let's check out the merch. Spirit jersey, Loungefly wallet, Figment shirt, gigantic Figment pin the size of my face, Corksicle water bottle, blue hoodie, and guess who's on the back? Figment. Keychain, different blue hoodie, no Figment. I lied. Button down shirt, retro baseball shirt, blue t-shirt. Shocked it doesn't have Figment on it. Oh, never mind. Another Figment shirt, this time in kid sizes. Magic Band Plus. Another t-shirt. A to-go coffee mug. And look, there's Figment. Pass holder t-shirt with Figment. Classic red shirt, no Figment. An Epcot 40 pin, but this one comes with a map to put your pins on. Snazzy. And I know what you're thinking, Molly, thank you so much for showing us that merch. I just wish something had Figment on it. Well, never fear, friends. 40th Figment plush. How's it feel to be the star of this thing and you weren't even around 40 years ago? Good for you, Figment. Good for you. I like Figment as much as the next person, but if you don't like Figment, you're kind of out of luck with this collection. Oh, look at Mickey and Minnie in their OG outfits up here. That's adorable. And there you have it, the Epcot 40th collection. And to end the day, they gave everybody an Epcot 40th poster on the way out.
Thank you so much for coming back to 1982 with us.
Hopefully you had fun visiting Epcot of yesterday. Tell us your favorite retro Epcot thing down in the comments.
Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow us on all of our socials at Name It Club, and thank you so much.
Until next time, friends, it's been magical. Now go watch the secrets of Epcot's most popular attractions. Bye!
Bye!